Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Beyond Crazy. Number 5. Fred and Rose West. There are some people in the world who are so fundamentally evil that their crimes defy logic. Fred West was certainly one of these. He committed at least 12 murders between 1967 and 1987. The victims were all young women, and Fred's wife Rose was a willing participant in many of their crimes. Although evil in her own right, Rose seems to have been completely under Fred's control. For example, at Fred's suggestion, she worked as a prostitute to bring in some extra income. The motive here was sexual gratification. The couple seemed to enjoy the cruelty they inflicted on their bound victims as they raped them in their small house in Gloucester, England. Fred saved the British taxpayers money by committing suicide while in prison in 1995. Rose remains behind bars. Number 4. The Cray Twins. Ronnie and Reggie Cray, identical twins, ruled the East End of London with iron fists. These were hard men who had risen from humble beginnings to cast a shadow over the London of the swinging 60s. Their criminal empire depended on armed robbery and protection rackets to thrive. The Crays and their associates would ensure compliance by readily resorting to arson, assault, and murder. Operating out of a nightclub that they had forced the owner to sell, they were familiar figures on the streets, and yet ordinary people who were untouched by the Crays' business interests revered them. The Crays acted as a sort of local authority that would help people with their problems and guarantee safety on the streets. And it was not just ordinary people who admired the Cray brothers. They were celebrities in their own right who rubbed shoulders with many of the stars of the day. The police arrested them in 1968. The empire had lasted less than 10 years. Ronnie, always the wilder and more impulsive of the two, was sent to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security psychiatric facility. He died of a heart attack in 1995. His brother died of cancer in 2000, 5 weeks after authorities released him from prison on compassionate grounds. Number 3. Genghis Khan's clan. Genghis Khan rose from obscurity in a small corner of the Mongolian steppe to form what was to become the largest land empire in history. For the Mongols, the family was the central pillar of society. Genghis' sons and the grandsons extended the empire to reach from the western shores of the Black Sea to the Pacific. The Mongols, often outnumbered, conquered through their mastery of tactics and psychological warfare. If a city or an entire people surrendered, the Mongols would treat them well and allow them to enjoy the fruits of a secure world. If, however, people resisted the Mongol advance, they and their cities would feel the full fury of the enraged invaders. Despite all the violence that took place as the Mongols extended their rule once the Mongols were in power, their lands were safe and well controlled. In many cases, this represented a distinct improvement from previous conditions. Subjects had considerable personal liberty. For example, people were free to follow their religion, but the price was high. Some experts calculate that fully 11% of the world's population died because of the Mongol expansion. Number 2. Shaka. Shaka Zulu's family had been chiefs of the Zulu clan, but the Zulus were relatively unimportant. Shaka changed that. He gradually expanded his power until he ruled with absolute authority. He had a grasp of tactics that made the Zulu warriors feared by all, including the technologically superior British colonists. As a fighting force, the Zulus moved rapidly over the land they knew well, followed orders without question, and were ruthless. They scared their enemies. He insisted on absolute obedience and would ruthlessly punish anybody who didn't live up to his expectations. Defeated warriors might return to the camp to find that Shaka had had their families executed. They also would probably suffer the same fate. People still debate whether he was just a cruel tyrant or the true father of a proud nation. Regardless, it was his own family who turned on him. After Shaka's mother died, he began to behave erratically. He ordered mourning rituals that made great demands on his people and resulted in a hardship for many. He was assassinated by his half-brothers in 1828. Most Zulu people today revere him. He was a hard taskmaster but gave his people pride in themselves. Number 1. The Gonzalez sisters. The four Gonzalez sisters ran a successful business from 1945 until the police closed it down in 1964. Their enterprise made its money through the age-old demand for sex. The Rancho El Angel was a brothel in the Mexican state of Guanajuato and acted as the center of the sisters' large-scale prostitution network. The women who worked for the sisters often did not do so voluntarily. The Gonzalez family had kidnapped some, while others had answered advertisements for housemaids. When the women arrived at the brothel, the sisters would often force heroin on those who were reluctant to provide the services that the sisters demanded. The effective working life of a prostitute is limited. When the girls became unable or reluctant to work and satisfy their clients, the sisters killed them. If a client turned up with a lot of money, he too might end up dead and his cash stolen. When police raided the property, they found the bodies of 80 women, 11 men, and various fetuses. There were probably many more victims who remained undiscovered. The Mexican court sentenced the sisters to 40 years in prison. Guinness World Records named the most prolific murder partnership. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.